Hello there. Hi. It's been a while since I did one of these. I want an excuse to make more easy content right now, so this is what I'm doing. And this is a topic I've been wanting to talk about probably since I started this forever ago. But I don't know if you guys can tell. I kind of like Pokemon, just a bit. Enough for me to acknowledge it. Anyway, yeah. So I want to talk about my thoughts on every Pokemon ever. I'm not going to go over every single one in this video in its entirety. I've decided to section it off to talking about each new addition towards every subsequent generation of games. So, for example, if I talk about... in this video, I'll be talking about Generation 1. Red, blue, yellow, and even green, if you want to be that asshole. But, yeah, I'm going to be talking about those games. But when I talk about something like Meowth, or Rattata, or whatever, and I don't bring up their Alolan forms, that is because I'm waiting to discuss them during my discussion of Gen 7 as a whole. So, no alternate forms that weren't in its original generation. I will be saving that for the generation they were introduced. That being said, Gen 1. So, Gen 1 is interesting. Technically, it's the generation I started out with, and I say that sort of hesitantly because my first Pokemon game was Fire Red. So it's technically Generation 3, but with Generation 1 Pokemon and some such. I have played Pokemon Yellow. I didn't beat it though. I think I got up to the Elite Four and just kind of stopped. But I did play it. I did play it. As for my thoughts on the Pokemon, they are as follows. So, the Gen 1 start. I'm going to be going in numerical order of the Pokedex, by the way. So, like, for example, I'm going to start with Bulbasaur because he's listed as number 1. But I'm going to, like, do the 3 starters all at once just because it's easier. And, like, you can't really talk about one without mentioning the others. So it's like, yeah. So, it comes to a time in every man's and woman's and others' lives where they have to sit down and think, what is the meaning of life? How will I be able to pay my tax returns on time? And which is the best starter from Generation 1? Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle? Where do I fall in line with this political alignment? It's Charizard. I know! I'm sorry! It's listen! Alright?
Brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah, you want to talk. Listen, I acknowledge that it's a... It's a bit overplayed. It's a lot of favoritism. But there's a good reason for that. And that's because Charizard, this is a fun fact, is really fucking cool. Okay? Alright? He's really fucking cool. Like, he's a dragon. I think that he's a fire-breathing dragon. I think that alone is warranted enough of being cool. And I don't need to justify it any more than that. Now, that being said, I will acknowledge that the favoritism has gone a bit out of hand, Not only has he been a playable character in Super Smash Bros. Since Brawl, even when other subsequent equivalents were taken out, he also got 2 Mega Evolutions and a Dynamax form. I'm making this video as like to almost in a sense to like profit off of the hype surrounding Scarlet and Violet, but God only knows if he's just gonna get something else in that game. Anyway, yes, I like Charizard. Like, I'm gonna be real, I kind of find the value of all 3 of the starters in this generation equivalent. Generation 1 is one of the few generations in which I can look at all 3 starters and say, yeah, they are all equally really cute and cool. I just have a preference for Charizard because I'm a simpleton. Also, I played Fire Red and he was on the box art for that and the cartridge, and I'm just like, and on the start screen, I'm just like, I guess it gotta be Charizard. But like, yeah, I think he's cool. But with that out of the way, I shall go in order. Bulbasaur is an interesting case. He's kind of like when you talk about the Gen 1 Pokemon, everyone's always like, oh, Charmander or Squirtle or whatever, and Blaster and Bulbasaur is just kind of the third wheel in that equation. But I think he's cute. I think he's got a very unique design, even compared to other Pokemon nowadays. It's just a frog dinosaur with a plant on his back. Like, it's as simple as it gets, and it's very effective. As for his middle evolution, Ivysaur, he's only in Smash Brothers because they needed a middle stage evolution to round out like all 3 stages, and then also like Charizard's Charizard no matter what. Like, they're not gonna throw in Venusaur Blastoise because it's fucking Charizard. So it was either gonna be Ivysaur or Wartortle, and I guess they figured Squirtle was more cute and recognizable than Bulbasaur, so they just kind of got put in by proxy. That is the only noteworthy thing I have to say about Ivysaur, which is more than I can say about most of the mid-stage evolutions, but whatever. If there's anything I can say, the mid-stages are pretty angsty in their, like, rough exterior. Like, they're kind of like, they have a bit about them that's still kind of cute, but they're still gruff enough to where it's like, okay, they're kind of badass. But, yeah, and then Venusaur is funny. Seeing in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, like, the way he runs is very funny. I did not expect that, but you know what, I guess. But yeah, he's cool. I don't really have much to say about the Bulbasaur line. Bulbasaur himself is really, really cute, but like, I just don't have any personal attachment to them. They're alright. Charmander is the boy. He's cute. I like him. Charmeleon, it was pretty badass to evolve him at first, but then like, I don't know. It's just, why is he such a darker red than the other 2? It's so like, at least Ivysaur looks like it's a transitional sort of stage of evolution, and Wartortle just kind of looks funny. Why is Charmeleon just like, why is he just dark red? Like, why is he like a burgundy? It's whatever, I guess. Charizard's Charizard. If I were to genuinely give any more compliments to this fucking Pokemon, I'm pretty sure his dick would be stroked so much it would fall right off. Moving on. Squirrel's cute, I guess. I like, if I had to choose anyone other than Charizard, it would definitely be Squirtle. But like, he's definitely he's definitely like fun in his own right, from a design perspective. Wartortle's weird. Why you got the blush? What was, they're still trying to make him like ugly cute, like a pug or something? Okay. Why'd he grow wings? Why does he not keep them? Why is his tail fluffy? Why doesn't it stay that way? Wartortle is such a weird fucking middle stage Pokemon. Like, even for Gen 1 standards, where it's just like... It's like, alright, I guess. Then there's Blastoise. Blastoise is the reason why I think he's, like, second best in my opinion. Because he's a bipedal tortoise with cannons on his shoulder-mounted water cannons. Just giving a Pokemon a gun is more than enough to make him cool. Magmator, I'm looking at you. But, yeah. That's what I think about the starters. They're neat. And then there's Caterpie. Caterpie is the cutest motherfucking thing that has ever existed in Pokemon. I love him to death. Metapod is Metapod. Lol. Harden. And then Butterfree. Butterfree is one of the cutest motherfucking bugs in this entire goddamn game. I'm definitely not biased to the one episode in the anime, but I am. And putting that aside, Butterfree's design is just so fucking, like, beautiful. I just like it's so clean and simple. I love it. It's just a butterfly. It's got a great wing pattern. Weedle, he's okay. Now that I think about it, considering Scarlet and Violet's going to introduce like Wiglet, do you think Weedle falls into that category just a little bit? Because he's got like the same kind of face, big nose, beady eyes, no mouth, or none apparent. Am I alone on this? Whatever. Kakuna, he has a tie, and I can never unsee it, and it's very funny. Beedrill, pretty badass. I like him. Is a bee. He's a Gurren Lagann bee, and I really like that. Pidgey's a bird. I don't know what you want me to say. It's just a generic fucking bird. Now, I never understood the naming convention of Pidgeotto and then Pidgeot. You would think as it evolves, it gets more syllables. That's just kind of the naming convention. It's like, oh, bigger means more. But, like, wouldn't Pidgeotto and Pidgeot's name be switched because of that? I don't know. And then you got, like... They don't even look that distinctly different. The most I could say is that Pidgeot's tail feathers become one color instead of two, and he just grows longer hair. And I guess that blondness goes up to his hair. It's weird. He's so fucking weird. Pidgeot and Pidgeotto are two... Pidgey's fine, but those two are fucking weird. Rattata and Raticate, they're rats. I don't give a shit about them. They exist. Spearow and Fearow, the exact same thing. I just do not give a shit. Ekans is come backwards. Arbok is come backwards. They're okay. They're the only ones with that kind of naming convention, which is peak Gen 1, if I may say so myself, but otherwise, it's nothing too noteworthy about them. Pikachu. He's cute. People are like, oh, Pikachu doesn't exist unless he's fat. And it's like, I never cared. He still looks appealing either way. You either have a schlumpy chunky or you have a aesthetically pleasing mascot for like generations to come. Like, I don't know. I feel like Chunky Pikachu is definitely like a product of his times, but they've definitely rounded out his appearance, ironically enough, to fit more of a universal appeal. What else is there? Raichu, he exists. I genuinely do not care for Raichu. Sandshrew, very cute. Sandslash, pretty cool. Never really knew what their original design, I thought they were like a shrew because of the name, but like, yeah, looking at what they were originally inspired by, I get it. I really do. Okay, the Nidorans are weird because, okay, I get it. Generation 1 had limitations on what they could do and classify, as Pokemon and whatever. But like, nowadays, if we did the exact same thing that they did for Nidoran male and Nidoran female, we would have 3 separate entries in the Pokedex for Burmy. Which is fucking ridiculous. Like, I guess there's an argument to be made that both the Nidorans are like distinguished enough in order to be classified as a different species. But I don't know. Like, sure, their design is very apparent in the differences, but you know what? So are most other fucking animals IRL. You've seen a male. Okay, a peacock is male. You ever seen a peahen? That shit look nothing alike. So I don't know. This might be a controversial take, but I genuinely think they should combine the dex entries of Nidoran male and Nidoran female and make them a whole single Pokedex number. Now that would mean that we would have one less number in the Pokedex and would screw over entire generations of numbers, but fuck you. Anyway, Nidorina is interesting. It's the edgiest that female line gets. Nidoqueen be rocking it. Literally, her N64 model like just has her shaking her tits. Nidorino is like, whatever, I don't care. Literally, the only reason people give a shit about Nidorino is because of the opening cinematic for Generation 1. And I guess Bill now, because of the Let's Go games, even though he's a Clefairy, and the other ones, or at least the Fire Red, Leaf Greens. Also, apparently Professor Oak has one. Whatever. And then Nidoking, badass as fuck. I love Nidoking is probably like peak monster design for Gen 1. Absolutely love him. And it's so strange how like Nidoqueen and Nidoking, like they've had a unique type combination forever. Like we have not received a poison ground type until Paldean Wooper. So that's kind of neat. Clefairy and Clefable, they exist. I really don't care. It's interesting to think that Clefairy would have originally been the mascot for Pokemon, and maybe it could have worked. It probably could have worked, but like, eh. I just don't care. And by the way, I'm not talking about any of these Pokemon competitively. I don't really care about that stuff. I'm looking at them from a purely aesthetic standpoint. I'm basing my opinion on them from the visual design and the personality indicated through gameplay. But I will acknowledge that fighting a Clefable competitively can probably be one of the most obnoxious things ever to exist. And that's as far as I'm going to acknowledge that. Moving on. Vulpix, cute, absolute fucking cutie. Love him, love him, love him, love him. Ninetales, dumbass name. I don't know, like why? It's so, like I know like the Japanese original names of some of these Pokemon, like Sandshrews, like what, Sand or something, or just Sand, I forget. But yeah, I know they're not like all that creative. But like Ninetales, really? What is this, Naruto? Anyway, also it should have been a fire psychic type, but whatever, I get it. Psychic was overpowered back then. Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff. Jigglypuff is my mother's favorite Pokemon. Apparently Hungry Boxes. Yeah, she can definitely be pretty hype in those games, but like otherwise I don't really care. It's cute, I guess. Really annoying seeing it from above, though. Wigglytuff, I literally could not give less of a shit about. Zubat. Zubat gets a bad rep. The hate for Zubat is overrated, honestly. Like, in my humble opinion, Zubat is not as annoying as people make him out to be because y'all don't put on repels, you fucking morons! I don't know. I just never got annoyed by those encounters. He's cool. I like him. Golbat's funny. Golbat is very funny looking. I like Golbat. He's cool. Oddish. Yeah, he's cute. I like him. I don't know what else to say. It's Oddish. Neat. Gloom is interesting. It almost kind of feels perpetually sad. I'd give him a hug, but I'd probably catch whatever he's got. Vileplume, a fucking hilarious name. Love that name. But also just like... It's almost like he got sick, but then accepted the sickness, became one with it, and became all the more powerful for it, which is peak 90s anime. Paris and Parasect. They are probably the most fascinating original Pokemon. Original being like from Gen 1, I mean. Because Cordyceps were not like all that widely well known by the public. At least not as far as I'm aware. I didn't learn about them until like Last of Us first came out back in like 2013 or whatever. And I gotta say, dark as shit. Very dark. Yeah, it's just like, it goes from, oh, it's the bug with the mushrooms on his back, to now the Pokemon is the mushroom. And he's just piloting like a thing, like a puppet. It's so creepy. Fun story about Parasect, by the way. When Ultra Moon came out, I got myself a copy of that, and I was finishing up the Pokedex so I could get the shiny charm, so I had a better chance of finding shinies. And I was in like the forest area, the big forest area, and I needed to get a Paris. I found a Paris. I'm like, okay, I got Paris, but there's still other stuff here that I could get, so I'll keep looking around. My immediate next encounter was a shiny Paris. Full odds. That is the first full odds shiny that I had ever encountered since Fire Red, where I was swimming, found a shiny Tentacool, did not know what shinies were at the time, was confused, but knew that I had to catch it because I really wanted to catch it, and I didn't have any Pokeballs. Took 15 fucking years to remember that. Anyway, Venonat. Venonat's cute. I like him. I know a mutual of mine, well, I call him a mutual, I don't really hang out with him all that much, but like, some guy had like, that I know, had a viral tweet pointing out like, oh, Venonat and Venomoth is showing up in the regional decks of a Pokemon game for the first time since like, what was it, Gen 1, Gen 2? Like, a long ass time. Which is very weird to think about, honestly. Yeah, Venomoth is also pretty neat. I know there's the theory about like the Venomoth line and the Butterfree line being swapped. Like, I don't care. It's Gyarados and Dragonite all over again. Honestly, like, Pokemon development back then was so fucking raw that like literally anything could have happened. Anyway, Diglett and Dugtrio. They're funny. I like them. They're cool. Yeah, some of them I just don't really have much to say. I'm just giving general opinions. Meowth. I mean, there's the obvious like thing from the anime and whatever, but like, can I just point out, like, you think Charizard got special treatment? Bruh, you don't know what they've been doing with Meowth. They gave him two he has an Alolan version and a Galarian version. Again, God only knows what they're doing down there in Paldea. Persian's kind of whatever, though. Psyduck and Golduck. Again, should be psychic. But I get it. Balancing. Whatever. But even then, Psyduck should have been called Golduck because he's gold. Golduck should have been called Psyduck because he's more in love with the second. I know why Pokemon names and typings are the way they are for a reason. But, like, if I'm going to be honest with myself, I don't care. It's just fucking dumb. Mankey and Primeape. They got that cutesy kind of anger thing going on for themselves. Like, I guess them constantly being, like, triggered is very entertaining, but, like, honestly, I dig them. Their, later generation, like, Gen 6 Cry Onward just made them sound like an actual freaking monkey, which is noteworthy in my opinion. Like, whatever. Yeah, they're cool. Not much of a difference in between the two evolution-wise, but like, eh. Growlithe and Arcanine. They're cool. They're like the original dogs, I guess. They're kind of whatever. Poliwag. Here's the thing with me and Poliwag. So, you know how some people used to think that Diglett's nose was its mouth? I used to think Poliwag's mouth was its nose. In that Gen 3 sprite, like when I looked at like him in game, it looked like it was just a cute little pink nose. But yeah, then like after the evolution, it just like Poliwhirl, it just loses the mouth. But then when he's Politoed, he gets a mouth again. It's so fucking dumb. Anyway, Poliwhirl, probably my go-to example of how the middle stage starter can always be more appealing than the final stage. Poliwhirl is so like distinct of a design, so like simple and iconic of a design that it's just like you look at Poliwrath, it's just like, yeah, Poliwhirl, Poliwrath, you know, that kind of like literally barely that much of a difference. But yeah, Poliwhirl is cool, and Poliwrath is fine. Water fighting was like pretty neat until like, you know, they did it better in later gens, but you know, for what it is, it's cool. Abracadabra and Alakazam. I gotta say, the spoon gimmick is a little fucking weird, especially with the immense amount of lore we get with it, but it's a fun line. It's a cool line. I like him. I know Kadabra has his own bit of controversy with that one magician guy, and now he suddenly feels regret. It's just like, damn, I was an asshole. Now that I'm no longer in the peak of my prime, I'm just like a little retrospective. But yeah, Also, fuck you, Abra, you piece of shit. Stop teleporting when I'm trying to catch you! Machop. Bruh, eat some fucking meat. I can see your ribs! Machoke. It's okay. Kind of whatever. Machamp. Oh yeah. Ben 10 forearms. Honest to God, he has a fun personality in Pokken Tournament. I'll give him that. But otherwise, it's not much to say about him, honestly. Bellsprout. His spindly legs. His funny mouth. Weeping Bell is literally crusty. And Victory Bell... Victory Bell's really cool. I'm not talking about the anime. The anime is like kind of whatever, its own thing. It was a gag. But like... I'm gonna be real, dude. Sentient Pitcher Plant? Based. Very based. Tentacool. Well, I already shared the story about my failed shiny attempt, but not attempt, but encounter. But Tentacool is really cool design, and I will stand by his shiny is like really fucking cool looking, and I might be biased by that. Tentacool is also just fucking badass. It's just a giant evil Squidward creature. Geodude is a dude of Geo. He's a rock with arms. Very specifically, like human fingers. Raveler has 4 arms for some reason. I don't know why they decided to do that. He's just kind of a weird amalgamation of things. Golem is just a tortoise in a rock. He's just a... He looks so hunch! And apparently he looks more hunch in like that Alolan version just because the arms are shorter, but I'm getting ahead of myself now. Ponyta. This is Pony. It's cute, I guess. Rapidash. I literally care even less. I don't really care that much about Rapidash. He exists. Slowpoke is funny. Slowbro is also pretty funny. Magnemite and Magneton. Interesting how they gained like the Steel type. Like, it makes sense. It annoys me that like Generation 1 is the only generation of Pokemon where not every type is represented. Which is probably why they tried to remedy that with the Alolan forms. The ones they gave to like Meowth Persian, Rattata Raticate, but like that still doesn't take away from the fact that Generation 1 is the only generation without every single type accounted for. In this case being the Dark type. And I get it, there's not really anyone in this roundup that could have fit that mold, but like, damn son. No wonder Psychics were so fucking prominent. Farfetch'd is a joke character. He is a joke creation, and I love him for it. I don't care enough, but he's funny. Doduo and Dotrio. I guess. They're neat. Cool. Seal. Adorable. Absolutely fucking precious. Dugong. He's okay. That shiny, though. Oh, my God. Woo! Woo, boy. Whoa. Daring today, aren't we? Grimer. Not every franchise can boast about having a sentient pile of shit as a party member. Especially in the first century. Muck spelled backwards is Ekans. Anyway, yeah. Also, by the way, there's like barely a difference between the two. It's just like, oh, he has one arm instead of two, or if he has another arm, is very. It's like the Kingler effect, where it's just like one arm is just really, really big, and his mouth is bigger. That's it. At least the Alolan form, like, I get it. Like, I'll say it briefly. The Alolan form made it more distinct and interesting. Shelder is neat. Usually when I think of Generation 1 and the design philosophy, I think of Shelder. Because it's got the googly eyes, tongue sticking out constantly thing. It is the goofiest fucking Pokemon to have ever been designed, and I say that being fully aware that Cloth exists, but it just screams like it could have only existed in that gen. But like the more you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because real life clams have a tongue that they use to propel themselves with, which is exactly what Shelder does. It swims backwards, using its tongue as a propeller, as a limb. It's literally just a clam with magical properties, literally. And I guess the googly eyes thing is like, oh, you put googly eyes on clams like all the time, like as a kid. So it kind of works. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff to pull from Shelder and its design. Cloyster is a vagina. There's no getting around it. They just put a vagina in Pokemon, and it is very funny. But when it pops out, it just becomes a Ghastly, I guess. Ghastly's cool. I get it, he's meant to be a Will-O-the-Wisp thing, but they just kind of like they sort of took the concept of that and made it like, oh, but what if it was like not a ghost of fire, but of poison. Which, thinking about it, I would not be surprised if we eventually get like a variant of Ghastly where they're ghost fire instead of ghost poison. Like, he's only like the entire line is ghost poison just because Ghastly is ghost poison. Because, like, and to this day, I don't think we have any other ghost poison types, unless I'm a fucking idiot. Because otherwise, there's nothing about Gengar or Haunter that scream that they're poisonous. That being said, Haunter's really cool. Just like, very sinister-like design. I like his shiny eyes. The blue mouth is very distinctive. And then there's Gengar. Gengar is probably one of the most recognizable and favored Pokemon in all of Gen 1. And for good reason. He has an amazingly well-crafted design. I'm pretty sure he was like one of the first ones like designed in general. And it shows because they just had a clear vision with his character in mind from the get-go. And it is absolutely like a feast for the eyes in terms of character. I like that Game Freak made the decision to have him in a constant state of smiling. Like, even when he faints, he's still smiling. Like, he's always smiling. If he's not smiling, then it's the anime, or it's Poké Tournament, or it's literally anything other than directly from the creature models. Creatures Inc. is what I mean when I say that. So it's very interesting that you want to talk about favoritism. He also got like a Mega and a Gigantamax form, so yeah, for good reason though. He's cool and deserves it. Onix is just a bunch of rocks. I don't care. Again, there's like the episode with Brock and the sprinklers, but like I don't care, man. Onix just exists. Drowsy is only noteworthy for that shit in Pokemon Go when it was first starting out. But otherwise, yeah, no. I don't care about Drowsy all that much. When you did encounter him, it was cool because it's like, oh, this interesting Pokemon I haven't seen before. It just like doesn't look like anything else I've encountered, but like otherwise, just like, yeah. Hypno's funny though, I guess. Meh. Krabby is just a crab, and Kingler is just a crab with a bigger claw. Literally, I don't care about them. Voltorb and Electrode are interesting. They're just like sentient Pokeballs. I think that's a neat trick. You know, an interesting take on the mimic aspect of RPGs. Executes. I don't know why they sound like they're gonna fucking kill you, because they already killed one of their own. But then okay, are they eggs or seeds? I like every time I hear a definitive answer, it's always something else, and I don't even think the creators know anymore. Every time they retcon themselves, they retcon them right back, and it is very confusing. Executor is funny. He's okay. Cubone is tragedy incarnate. It is sad and morbid, but Marowak is cool too, I guess. There is so much like narrative potential that you could pull off with something like Cubone, and I know that Pokemon has been occasionally been doing that pretty interestingly enough. But like, man, I still wish they kind of would do a bit more with that, honestly. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. Hitmonlee is spring loaded, and Hitmonchan has got weighted gloves. Lickitung, every girl's best friend. He's okay. I don't really care about him either way. Coughing is always having fun, and it is very contagious. And Wheezing is he's seen better days. Rhyhorn, fun fact, same exact cry as Charizard. At least in Fire Red. Otherwise, he's just a Rhino. It's whatever. Rhydon, however, he's cool. I like him. Again, you could tell with like the original like designed Pokemon that were made at the game's inception. Like, I'm pretty sure he was like the first Pokemon designed too. Like, it's very clear, like, with, like, the original designs, they knew what the fuck they were doing. They knew how good of a design they were actually making, because this shit is solid as hell. Chansey is a weird axolotl egg creature, and it might show up in a Pokemon Center sometimes. That's literally it. Tangela's funny. I like Tangela. I like Tangela a lot. I really like Tangela. He's a funny guy. Kangaskong's cool. Kangaskong's really, really badass, and I like what they do with that design for sure. Horsey's adorable. I fucking love her. Seadra is okay. I don't really care all that much. I'm kind of lightning rounding things now, if you couldn't tell. Goldeen exists. Seaking exists, but even less. Staryu and Starmie. It's interesting. I've seen people say that there's like some inspiration from shit like Kamen Rider or whatever, or something equivalent of that. I don't fully know, but it's like, if that's true, that is the weirdest way to incorporate it. Also, fun fact about these two: some of the most underrated shinies in the entire fucking game, and that I am not biased by this time. Mr. Mime. He's just a guy who's also a mime, I guess. Scyther, badass, absolutely fucking badass. I love Scyther's design so much. He's so cool. And then Jinx exists. I know Jinx has been caught up in her own sense of controversy, and she got the Dragon Ball Z treatment of just turning completely fucking purple. But for Jinx, it kind of works, honestly. That's what you get for mixing Ganguro, which is inherently racist, with a yokai that no one's ever heard of until they look deep enough. Electabuzz is cool. I've always thought Electabuzz is really fucking cool looking. He's just like, he's got that sort of edge that just makes him look fucking. It looks like he's mildly pissed all the time. Not even mild. He's just like in a bad mood all the fucking time, and that's very interesting. Meanwhile, Magmar just looks dopey all the goddamn time. Pinsir's cool. My favorite nickname to give a Pinsir is Inverted Ribcage. I'll give you that one for free. Tauros, he's just a bull with 3 tails. There's literally nothing noteworthy about him other than he was like very oppressive in competitive Gen 1. That's it. That is his legacy, but whatever. Magikarp is the butt of a lot of jokes, and I get why. He's very intentionally pathetically designed. Which meshes well with him turning into Gyarados, of course, who is really badass. Listen, I know Dragon is an overpowered type. Why can't he just be Water Dragon? Why couldn't he have just been Water Dragon? If they're gonna give it to fucking Seadra, why not make Gyarados Water Dragon? When does Gyarados ever fly? What moves does he get that benefit the flying type? Bounce? And literally nothing else? Okay, fine, whatever. Can this man fly? No. Can he fly in the water? Sure, but so can every other fucking water type. It's called swimming. Dumbass. If I had the ability to change any one Pokemon's design, it would be Gyarados. Fuck this thing, dude. Like, he's so cool. He's so badass, but like, my god, like. I thought he was Dragon for the longest time, too. I just make him, like, twice effective against electricity. Why don't you? Lapras is neat. The way you get him is, like, you just get him as a gift for, like, almost completing this building. But then, like, it's also, like, sort of an endangered species, but then there's, like, a plethora of them in later games, so it's like, yay! But then, Galarian Corsola exists, so it's like, oh. But yeah, Lapras is cool. I like Lapras. Ditto's funny. Ditto's very, very funny and cute. I like him. The ability to just turn into literally fucking anything is also really nice. Eevee is... Eevee's cute. I like Eevee. I'm not crazy about them turning into like a secondary mascot for the company, but like, honest to God, yeah, Eevee's a great design. Just a mishmash of a lot of different animals, kind of its own thing. And then we get to the 3 original Eeveelutions. The original Sins of Man, Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon. I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief. Vaporeon is probably the most overrated Pokemon in... Vaporeon is definitely overrated when it comes to Eeveelutions, for sure. I don't know if I'd call it the most overrated Pokemon, but it's definitely up there, for sure. It's just... It's not a bad design, but you compare it to literally every other Eeveelution out there. Like, even Sylveon, who's like... It's not like an amazing design, but I like Sylveon. But, like, the Gen 2 ones, nail it out of the park. Fucking love them. Like, Jolteon, kind of edgy, but I dig it. Flareon, simple as hell and clean. Vaporeon has way too much fucking detail for me to find it cute or appealing. It's like, it's got the frill ears, the frill mane thing, this like intricately detailed like tail with the thing on the spot, the back of it or whatever, and it's like, I get it, it's meant to look like a mermaid or whatever, but it's like, there's too much going on for me. I'm not crazy about it. At least with like Jolteon, he's like consistently edgy and doesn't have too much happening to like throw you off. I'm just not crazy about like sharp designs like that. I don't know. It looks prickly. It doesn't look like he'd be fun to pet. Flareon just feels like he'd give you a warm hug, and I think that's adorable. So yeah, if I had to rank the original 3 evolutions, it would be Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon. Actually, it would be more like Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon. But yeah, that's how I see them. Porygon's funny. Porygon is very funny. I like him. Interesting that this game about digital creatures has a very on-the-nose digital creature. Now we're going to the fossils. So, with each game, you kind of have a choice between one or the other when it comes to fossils. So, there's Omanyte and Kabuto. I like Omanyte more. And it's not because of the Twitch Plays Pokemon memes. I don't care about the memes. I preferred Omanyte long before that shit happened. Like, Kabuto's cool, like, with the whole, like, he's got fake eyes on the top but real eyes on the bottom sort of thing. Kind of like Cradily. But, like, he's very creepy looking. I like that about him. But, like, Omanyte looks like a squishy Squinblow. I just find that more appealing. I don't know. I found the more round characters to be like round, curvy kind of like designs, like in a stylistic sense, to be more like visually appealing. Because like, not to say I don't like something like Jolteon or Kabuto, but like, I don't know. I guess if I had to think about it, like, what would I rather have as a pet, and what would I rather like want to be friends with? It's just kind of like that, you know. Omastar is funky as hell, though. I do like his deranged looking design. I'm kind of for it. Yeah, Kabutops is it's also neat. It's interesting to look at him and be like, oh yeah, it's like a neat prehistoric looking Scyther, or like some sort of far off ancestor, or who knows, it could just be like another Wiglet situation. It's very clear there's a lot of things in the Pokemon design that's taken into consideration with like stuff like Pokemon can have similar traits a lot. It really makes this ecosystem feel like a real breathing natural world with all these different similarities. And then there's Aerodactyl. Like, this is the only gen where they had like two different choices for fossils, and then like some third alternative one. I'm not going to count Gen 8 because that's its own can of worms, but Aerodactyl is like blatant Jurassic Park reference aside, he's cool. He's very cool. I like it. He's very badass. If Gen 1 did anything right, they knew how to make a really good badass design. They knew how to draw cool shit. And if Scarlet and Violet are anything to go off of with Armarouge and Ceruledge, then they definitely know how to they definitely still have that itch to make something fucking awesome. Snorlax, Toby, he's fun. Oh my god, he's literally me! No, for real though, he's cool. I like him. Alright, we're almost done. Legendary birds. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. Now, when it comes to any good trio or group of legendaries or whatever, you always got to ask, which one out of them do you like the most? And I gotta say, Team Mystic all the way, baby. Yeah! Yeah, someone 3D printed me this like forever ago. Looks really cool, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway, I'll just put that here for now. Yeah. I like Articuno. Articuno's design is solid as hell. I fucking love. He looks so beautiful and majestic. It's just like serene, and I love that about him. Zapdos is cool. He just kind of has the Jolteon thing of just the electric thing looking too spiky. I gotta wonder how he's able to fly with those wings. But either way, like, Zapdos is pretty cool. And Moltres definitely also, like, probably has the most, like, simple yet complicated design out of the three at the same time. Like, Zapdos is very spiky and has a bit going on with that spikiness, but it's very toned down and simple to look at in the same way Jolteon is. Moltres' intricacy comes from the detail in the flames, which is very intricate for some reason. Meanwhile, the rest of the body is just basic bird looking. And I find that interesting. I definitely have a soft spot for all three of these birds. Like, Articuno is my favorite, but Moltres was like the first one I'm pretty sure I encountered and spent forever trying to catch it. And Zapdos is definitely in a similar boat where it's just like, oh yeah, this thing, ooh. Yeah, I forget which one of the two I got first, but I think it was Moltres. I'm pretty sure it was Moltres. Then there is the pseudo-legendary. Dratini is a tapeworm. No, for real. It's also got that Diglett nose. What the fuck? Damn, Jen really liked that, huh? Anyway, yeah, so, I think Dratini's cute. Getting one in Gen 1's fucking difficult, though. Dragonair's interesting. Like, it definitely feels like a natural progression from Dratini, but then Dragonite is just like... when the obesity hits. No, for real. Dragonite's funny. I like him. He's kind of, like, weirdly adorable. Which is weird to say, considering how strong he's technically supposed to be. Yeah, he's cool. And then, finally, Mewtwo. Probably one of the most iconic Pokemon ever. He definitely sells it with that badass demeanor, and he's just cool. He's just the essence of cool. And literally, he is Shadow the Hedgehog for Pokemon. And I respect that. And yeah, that's all the original 150 Pokemon from Gen 1. Why is there a truck in my room? Oh yeah, Mew. Mew's cute. I don't really have much to say about Mew. He's just kind of interesting. I find more interesting out of him out of the lore than I do out of his design. But even then, it's just like kind of whatever. Yeah. Those are my thoughts on all Generation 1 Pokemon. Let me know what you thought of any of my takes. Were some hot? Or some cold? If you're gonna come in here and tell me that my opinion on Charizard was a hot take, then whatever. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to see me talk about other Pokemon from later generations, let me know. I definitely will, regardless, but I do want to hear, like, what do you guys think of these Pokemon, for sure. And on that note, I guess I'll see you later. Bye.